What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I want to review, or at least overview, I guess I should say, Jurassic Park, the book by Michael Crichton. I finished reading it about 2 weeks ago, roughly. It's to cut straight to the chase if you don't really want to deal with like a bunch of just, oh, it's good at this, good at that, bad at this, bad at that. If you just want to overall, someone who's read it, their opinion, it's good. If you like the movie, you should read the book. If you've read the book and you haven't watched the movie, you should watch the movie. I feel like they both hold up to their own, they hold up in their own ways. The movie's good at one thing, the book's good at one thing. They both deal with the same concepts, but they're good in different ways. They're bad in different ways. Not necessarily bad in different ways, they're just different. But the book is good. If you've seen the movie, you'll probably enjoy the book. And if you like the movie, at least. If you don't like the movie, you'll probably won't enjoy the book. The book is good. I don't want to give it a number rating because that's just not how I operate. But it is good. If you like the movie, read the book. It's a little preachy at times. However, it's like 90s science fiction, I think, is around when it came out. Early 80s, late 80s science fiction. I might be off on my years. So I apologize, but it is good if you like old science fiction, especially. But I do want to hop into more specifics for the book. The story, specifically, it's very similar to the movie. If you've seen the movie, there's an island with genetic testing. Genetic testing is very, very prominent in the world. It's taken over in terms of like, it's the new thing with science. And a guy named Hammond, John Hammond, is buying an island. And he's like, well, I'm going to create dinosaurs. Cool. And then these characters, your main cast, gets roped into basically an investigation into dinosaurs that are getting loose on the mainland. It's in the first couple chapters. It's literally in the prologue. No, not necessarily in the prologue, but in the first chapter, there's dinosaurs getting loose onto the mainland. Nothing big, but dinosaurs getting loose onto the mainland, and they're getting roped into an investigation. Excuse me. They get roped into this investigation, and they end up getting taken onto the island to not investigate it, but very similar to the movie, a lawyer is trying to make sure that the island's even going to function as a theme park. So they end up on the island, and then that's when all hell breaks loose. I'm probably going to just leave it at that because I do recommend you read the book because it plays out a little bit differently than the movie does if you've seen the movie. But it is interesting, the differences in the way it plays out, because it is different. If you've seen the first, I want to say 3 movies, a lot of the things that are, a lot of the really popular, like, big moments in the first 3 movies happen in this book. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I do want to jump into the characters, though. Grant, I believe, is probably my favorite character. I'm wearing probably my most similar shirt to what he wears in the movie. I don't have a jean like shirt like that, but I'm not wearing jeans or anything like that. I want to be a little cooler. It's not 80 degrees. It's 80 degrees outside. I'm not trying to sweat. Grant's probably my favorite character in the book. He's probably the most fleshed out character. And just like in the movie, he has the kids to bounce off of. So whenever something happens, it's not just him going, oh my God, there's an event happening. The kids might say something, and then he has to get them and himself to safety, or he has to come up with a plan to get them to safety. So it's not just he himself in the situation. He actually has to come up with things, and he has people to bounce off of constantly, and it's the same people. So he does grow to an extent, but not a lot. It's definitely, I don't want to keep saying this, but it's definitely older science fiction style where the characters don't necessarily grow. They're just the same characters. But Grant definitely grows the most because early on he's like very not positive about everything, but he's like, whoa, there's dinosaurs here. And then towards the end, he's like, man, y'all made all this happen. Y'all made everything happen. You have to own up to this. So, yeah, he grows the most. Some of the side characters that are more prominent in the movie really, it's like I said, and I don't want to sit here and compare and contrast the entire time, but before I really force myself to stop doing this, a lot of the characters that are major in the movie are not so major in the book. So Ellie is a very good example. In the book, she's not around like at all. She comes up pretty sparingly in the book, but in the movie, if you've seen it, she's very prominent. She resets the power in the movie. She does a lot in the movie. In the book, Mr. Arnold does a lot of the stuff that Ellie does because he's the systems engineer. So yeah, Mr. Arnold, that's another good example. I think Mr. Arnold is really well done in the book. I think Nedry is essentially the same. I don't want to go through and say like, oh, this character's this character's that. But I feel like some characters are really well done and some characters aren't. Malcolm is someone that I will go into later because I do have a lot to say about him. At least more to say about him. And Lex. Lex is another person I want to go into because I feel like she's one of the main cons of the book. I feel like if you've done any research into reading it, she might be someone you've heard about. But we'll get into that later. The dinosaurs. The dinosaurs is probably my favorite part of the book. They're handled extremely well. Very early on, it's shown that they're like very majestic but powerful, and these like sometimes docile but sometimes scary creatures, right? But then later on, they are shown to be like extraordinarily scary. There's a scene in the, I want to say, a little bit over the halfway point of the book, where they're in a boat, in like a little raft, and they activate it, and it like inflates, start rowing down a river. There's a T-Rex. T-Rex is sleeping, and Lex coughs, wakes the T-Rex up. T-Rex chases them, goes into the river, and starts swimming. It's not swimming, it's like walking on the bottom. So they describe, Michael Crichton describes it as more like a crocodile. So its head's just above the water, and then you see its like tail and everything. So it's walking on the bottom, on the floor, the riverbed. But then the reason it doesn't get them, the hell was that? The reason it doesn't get them, I apologize, I heard something outside. The reason it doesn't get them is because whenever it goes to chomp, it like, the opening of its mouth creates a wave and it pushes them forward. And then when it slams down, it creates another wave and it pushes them out the way. But the reason it doesn't actually end up killing them is because Grant, is rowing, and then it sees a juvenile T-Rex, and it chases it away because it had a kill, so it wanted to protect its kill. And that's not the reason I believe Lex is an annoying character, by the way, because that was annoying, but it made sense because it's like she coughs and then, oh my god, that something has to happen now. Cool, I get it. Increased tension, right? It's what you do in a story. Let me go ahead and talk about her, because I guess I don't have a lot of time. So Lex and Malcolm, this is probably my main two cons of the book. Lex is very annoying. She is a child, and she's younger than basically Lex's age and Timmy's age get flipped from the movie. So Lex is 8, I think. 6, I don't know, she's around there. But she acts like an idiot. And like, kids are kids. I get that. But dog, she repeatedly is like, I'm hungry. Can we get something to eat? Like this, that, and the third, and they'll be like, we have to wait. There's like, we might die. And she's like, the concept of that just goes over her head. And I feel like, at around 8 years old, you should understand those concepts, that you might die, that like death is a thing. You might not. I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to, I wasn't a single child necessarily. I grew up with my cousins, but we were all around the same age, so I don't have like younger sibling experience. We're all only like a year apart. But I feel like you would understand the concept of death at that young of an age. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't. But she is an annoying character. And I feel like it's the way Michael Crichton writes, too, because he writes women, and I was talking to my girlfriend about this, he writes women in a way where it's like they are sexualized needlessly. Ellie, if you read the book, Ellie is very offhandedly written, like she has long legs. Pretty much every man comments on it. And I know, like, for the time, that's just how it was, right? But every man comments on how she's attractive. She has a long neck. She has long legs. She looks good. That, which by itself wouldn't be that bad, but it's like, so you have an annoying, like an ungodly annoying child that happens to be a girl. You have Ellie, who doesn't really do a lot in the story other than look good. And then another thing, this is completely different, but it's somewhat related. Every time someone other than a white person is mentioned, their race is thrown in. Take that what you will. But again, I was talking to my girlfriend, and she was like, old science fiction's like that. They just, basically, if their race is other than white, every single time. And I'm talking, and I noticed it in the first like 2 chapters. I was like, that's fine, I guess. It's just, you have to read it, and it is what it is. But there was like there was some park rangers that came up to lead them into the self-driving the self-driving Land Rovers. They, go around the park and they do like the tour. And he mentioned that they were black men like 5 times. Not literally. I think it was 3 times. Which, like, okay, I got it. I don't need you in the paragraph to say, okay, there was black men walked up and opened the door. The black men did this. The black men closed the door. It's like, I got it. I got you. Cool. But it's fine. I mean, it's just how it is. And again, it's not like that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Like, he's not outwardly racist or outwardly sexist. It's just something I noticed, and it's more of like reading between the lines and the current landscape of the world. But that's like the two major things I have. Not major, I don't want to say major, but that is two things I noticed with the book that were just kind of like off-putting whenever you notice it. Because again, the current landscape of the world, you feel me? I do want to talk about Malcolm. And I apologize, I'm very wiry as fuck. Malcolm feels like early on a very cool character. He's written like, I'm going to explain concepts to you that are like extraordinarily out there, but if you read between the lines and when you see the stuff coming to the end, it makes sense. Right? He goes, he pretty much says everything's gonna go wrong and we're gonna die. And you're like, yeah, I know that. I know how this is gonna end. I got you, Malcolm. But then when he gets injured really bad, he's laying on like the operation table and whatever. Not the operation table, but like one of the tables. He's sitting there going, everything's gonna end, you know, concepts of damnation and destruction, and he's saying just a lot of stuff, right? And every single time it cuts back to Malcolm, he's talking about how John Hammond is like the worst thing known to man, and how science is not good. Not how science is not good, but the way they're practicing science is not good. And he says it in like 10 different ways. And towards the end, he just does that. Every time it goes back to Malcolm, he's doing that. And I'm not saying it got old. Well, it did. It did get old. But he would do it every single time it cut back to him. And it felt like Michael Crichton didn't know what to do with Malcolm. So he just cut to Malcolm, would say, all this stuff is bad. And then John Hammond would go, what are you talking about? And then Ellie and the Ranger would go, I know what he's talking about. John Hammond would go, whatever. And that's basically the scene. For every scene with Malcolm after like chapter 3 or 4 was just that over and over. And there was nothing interesting happening with him. So the park, yeah, the park was really cool. I did enjoy the setup of the park. It felt more, it was described in a more interesting way than the movie showed. I don't know how to describe that. Like, the park is very, the way it's described, it's very interesting. Like, you have a river, you have an aviary, you have a bunch of stuff that's not set up. I just wanted to remember to mention that. That's why I wrote it down. But it feels way more fleshed out. Like, there's more dinosaurs out there, and there's more that you don't even see. It's what it feels like whenever you finish the story. You're like, wow, there was more to that park that we didn't even know about. You know, themes and concepts. I think one of the major themes is obviously using science for profit, which definitely shows up in the book, because like that's Malcolm's whole thing, and that's honestly one of my complaints, is how heavy-handed it is with that concept. Malcolm states it a lot better than I could, even though he's heavy-handed. He states it a lot better than I could in the book, and Michael Crichton, I guess I would say, does, because he's the writer. But he's basically saying just watch the lunch scene from, go on YouTube and watch the Jurassic Park lunch scene. Amazing scene. That's basically what the theme is, and the major theme is in this book. Another thing is like practicing and rushing any new science without safeguards. There's multiple times in the book where they assume they're right about something and they're way off. They'll count, they have a computer with like sensors and stuff, and they always put in the expected amount of dinosaurs to be like 293 or something, right? And they type in 293, they get 293. And then Malcolm goes, well, what happens if you put in 300? They put in 300, and then all of a sudden it comes back and says expected 300. No, it says expected 293, found 300, because they typed in 300. And then they just kept putting it up higher and higher and higher until they got to like, it was like 370 or something. Yeah. Then there was another time where a boat was coming in, and well, I do want to go back to the main, like the first chapter. There was a baby, like tiny, like the compy. It was a baby compy that attacked a tiny girl, little child, bit her up, and it was found on the mainland. And Dr. Wu, Hammond, everyone swears up and down that it's not their dinosaur. And it's like, well, how is it not your dinosaur? Well, how is it not your lizard, dinosaur, whatever you want to call it? You're the only one making dinosaurs currently. Who else's is it? Clearly, dinosaurs are getting off the island and attacking people. Good God, Dom. You alright? Give me 1 second. As I was saying, dinosaurs are clearly getting off the island and attacking people. And the whole first chapter goes over this in like excruciating detail and just horrible detail, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much covers. There's more themes and concepts to the book, obviously. I don't want to go over everything. I do want there to be something left. And obviously I'm not great at this. I didn't really write anything down. I want to just kind of write a couple things, go over a couple things, put out a video. However, I do want to go over one more thing that annoyed me about the book. The final chapter goes over, they're looking for a nest of velociraptors. And the government, okay, so spoiler alert, before we get into this, the book, very good. There's problems that, like I mentioned, it's very good. Classic sci-fi. If you enjoyed the movie, give it a read. If you really love the movies, definitely give it a read. Spoiler alert. The final chapter is about them looking for a nest. The main crux of the final chapter is about them looking for a nest of a velociraptor nest. So, Grant, Ellie, and the lawyer, I can't remember his name, it's like Gennaro or some shit like that, are looking for a nest of a velociraptor nest. The government has already said they are going to bomb the island. And Grant and them know this. They're not looking for the, like, without knowing, because the book's really good about people understanding, some people knowing something and some people not knowing something. So there's just miscommunication sometimes. Grant and all of them know this. So they go to find the nest, put themselves in unnecessary danger, almost die. Like, they don't almost die. Like, the velociraptors are, like, nearly fucking 3 foot from them. They're within the velociraptor's nests towards the end of the chapter. The velociraptors do some weird dance and ritualistic shit. If you read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Then they get out. The helicopters that are coming to pick them up come in, save the survivors. They come in. They get picked up by the helicopters. Then it bombs the island. Like, they didn't even drop gas, nerve gas or anything in the thing in the, what's it called? In the nest to kill the eggs or anything. They just bombed the island. It made no sense to me. That chapter is the single most frustrating chapter of the entire book. The book is so good, and that final chapter happens, and I'm just like, what the fuck was that? Why did y'all do that? The island's already going to get bombed, and then Grant's argument is we have to be sure. What do you have to be sure of? The island's already getting bombed. You didn't do anything to the eggs. You didn't take one home and fucking inspect it. You didn't nerve gas the eggs. You didn't do anything. Unless I missed it. It's entirely possible that, look, I read at work sometimes, so it's possible that whenever I was reading at work, I missed the line where he said something about nerve gassing the eggs. But I'm pretty sure I didn't. I'm getting worked up. I apologize. But still, I don't think I missed that part. Anyway, at the end of the day, it is a very good book. The final chapter is fucking weird. It feels like Michael Crichton wanted there to be stakes at the very end other than everyone just getting out and didn't know really what to do and was like, urethra. They need to look for the nest. And I'm like, dude, there was no reason. There's absolutely no reason for them to look for the nest right now. And no one died. No one got hurt. Like, just, I don't know. Anyway, if you like this video, like, subscribe. This is my first video, basically. Yeah, my next book that I'm going to finish, hopefully, is The Martian. Very good book, by the way, extremely good. About halfway through it, I might make a video about it. I might not, I'm not sure. But yeah, watch out for that. And if I don't make a video about that, I might end up making a video about the second Jurassic Park book. I don't know. I might end up making another book review video just about another book. Or a review video about a game, a movie, something. I'm just planning on reviewing things in general. So yeah, look out for The Martian, or any other thing that I end up reviewing. Probably The Martian though.